Welcome to the Christy Jones Show. This is your go-to podcast for living life to the fullest. I am a life and empowerment coach, speaker, and business owner in multifamily real estate. I am a woman passionate about helping others build a life that they truly desire. We'll talk about how to make the most out of every day, from setting meaningful goals to embracing the present moment. So join us as we explore the depths of living a life that is full of joy, purpose, and satisfaction. Well, hey, my friend, welcome back. Welcome back to another week of the Christy Jones Show. I'm really excited to talk about today's topic because I am diving into the art of delegation. Yes, we are talking about the importance of delegating. Literally anything. You can apply this to any area of your life. You can apply it to your personal life, to your home life, to your work life. The options are endless, but you've got to really hear me out when I talk about my 95-5 rule. You can even call it the 90-10 rule. I'll talk more about that in a minute, but it's all about delegation and why you want to incorporate this in your life to make your life so much better. All right. So let's just jump right into it. So why has this been on my mind? Well, the reason it's been on my mind is inside I have a monthly membership coaching group called the Flourishing Edge Inner Circle. And last week, one of the things I opened up for February was really not so much about delegating, but it was about how to how to say yes to more things in your life and how when you know you need to say no. And by saying no, we create more opportunities for the yeses in our life. And so as I was coaching through that subject and I wrapped up that week, it really got me thinking about how we sometimes find ourselves finding it really hard to delegate things, to delegate a task, to really lean on others. And I think that I believe for myself, I have learned this skill through the years very well. And I want to thank the men that I've learned this from because I feel like in the workplace that I really paid attention to looking at when I was working around different men and how they could decipher what needed to be delegated, what they needed to keep on their plate. And they didn't have a lot of I guess I'll call it like inner dialogue, inner turmoil going on when it came to, divvying it up, figuring out who does what. And it got me thinking, again, this is many years ago, why why am I struggling so much with it? Why am I more hesitant to feel comfortable delegating things so I can maybe accomplish a larger mission or hit a certain timeline. In the workspace back then, my thought was to accomplish this goal in X amount of time, it's going to take, I've got to basically incorporate other people on the team to meet this lofty goal. So it really got my wheels turning back then of why do I hesitate when it comes to delegating and thinking I have to do it all. So that's where this conversation is gonna like spin off from because I do feel like sometimes women, we feel like we have to like be all, do all. And that can be like in the home space, in the workspace, and it might be, and maybe this doesn't apply to you, but I coach a lot of women, and I find that sometimes asking for help, reaching out, delegating, whatever word you want to put on it, it doesn't always come as natural. So I want to kind of break down the walls of that a little bit and talk about why it's important to be comfortable delegating, what that's going to do for you. I want to talk about some reasons of why possibly you're not delegating anything and give you some things to think about that are those roadblocks that you're coming up against so you can work through those. Because trust me, my friend, when you get really good at feeling comfortable what I call the art of delegating, you will free up so much, like so much inner space, mind space. You will be able to, you're basically allowing others to operate in their area of magnificence. So when you're always wanting to like hold everything and be the I'm going to do it all person, you're you're not allowing others to shine in the areas that they can truly shine in. So it becomes, I think, when we don't want to delegate things, it's almost more of a selfish thing because I'm going to do it all. I want to be able to, have my fingerprint on every single thing. And it's not always what's best for you, and it's not always what's best for the project, the team, the situation. Even if it's not a work deal, maybe this is something, in the home. Maybe it's just like handling like the kids' schedule, juggling and getting everyone everywhere, of meeting meeting the schedule for that week. It's okay to bring on some help, that you don't have to do it all. So I just really want to kind of break down that mental barrier that a lot of people walk around with. So the 95-5 rule. So this was actually the 95-5 rule was taught to me, that lingo, that term was taught to me years ago by my husband. We worked together, and one of the things he used to always say was, 95-5 rule. Figure out who's on the team, figure out who's best at that task, and then delegate that to them. Even if they get 5% of it, you got to go clean up. You only got to go clean up 5% of it. And although 95-5, that might be a little lofty. So people be like, look, they're going to mess up more than 5%. They're not going to, I'm going to have to clean up more than 5% of the project. All right. So let's just say a 90-10 rule then. Maybe can we agree on that? Like maybe it's a 90-10 rule. Like if you delegate something, they're going to get 90% of it on point. And then you have to go in and you'll have to like fix, clean up, reorganize, finish off whatever the last 10%. Okay. Still, even if that's the case, how amazing is that 90% of whatever it is you've delegated, 90% of it got done, and it got done at an acceptable level to where now you just got to go and you got 10% or even maybe 5% that you have to go and finish, wrap up, put a bow on it, whatever. So the 95-5 rule, that was something that he talked about a lot. This is back when I first entered into the apartment business. And so as I was working into management and all of that, he was like always talking about the 95-5 rule. And I thought, and I actually like, I loved that idea because I did have really big goals. And so I quickly figured out that I just have to best understand everyone, on the team, and understand their strengths. And understanding their strengths then helped me know what to delegate to the appropriate person. And I understood my strengths. And when I understood my strengths better, then I knew what I could, I always call it people's area of brilliance. It's what they're just so natural at and so fluid at. And it's just enjoyable for them because it's their little area of their special brilliance. Figuring out what that is, not only for yourself, but for other people, if we're talking about the workplace, for other people on your team, that takes effort. It takes intention. You've got to put the time and energy into it. You got to want to know what that is. But if you invest the time in that and you understand that better for the people that are on your team that you're working with, or if you're the leader of that team that are on your team, understanding their areas of brilliance is going to make this task of delegating so much more successful for you. And you're going to feel so much better about it. And you're going to delegate things to the right people that then they feel really good about what they're doing because they're really good at it. Because you're giving them things that are in their area of brilliance. So, the art of delegating, I talk about the 95-5 rule. I'll even break it down to like I said, the 90-10 rule, meaning you have to go back and you're going to have to like wrap up 5%, clean up 5%, 10%, knowing that you're going to have to go in and really like, go in and do the work to make sure that 5-10% that they didn't maybe complete or catch or, made some mistakes on. That's still on you. But wouldn't you agree that it's so much better to find someone that can handle 90 to 95% of the task at hand and do it well? And then you can handle that 5 to 10%? And how much space that's going to like open up for you. Again, not just physical space on your like time space on your calendar. I'm talking about mental brain space, like emotional space, because those are the things that really bog us down through the day. So 95-5 rule, 90-10 rule, really consider that if you're not already practicing that, whether it's in your work life or in your home life. Sometimes in the home life, it might look like I hear women say, well, I asked him to, let's just talk about house chores, like I asked him to fold the laundry and put it away, and he did, but he didn't fold the towels the way that I like them folded. I look, I'm the type of person, like if you are folding anything, I love you. Like that is fabulous. I don't care if you roll it, fold it, crisscross it. I don't get really hung up in those details on laundry. I'm just glad someone's doing the laundry because I hate laundry. But let's just say I hear that a lot. Like, well, he did it, but he didn't do it the way that I wanted him to do it. So my thing is can you loosen that a little bit to where is it like what happens if the towel isn't folded in, I don't know, there's, I guess, all these really cool ways to fold towels, but if it's not folded the way that you want it folded, what's the fallout from that? Like what goes wrong? I mean, I'm just asking, what happens? A lot of times, and I'm going to go into reasons why a lot of people have challenges when it comes to delegating. But I mean, if you just get practical and ask yourself, like we're just talking about folding the towels right now as an example. Well, yeah, he did the laundry, but he didn't fold them or put them in the linen closet, whatever, the way that I do. Okay. I mean, can you live with that? By him doing that though, did that not give you some free time? Did that not give you some time to do something else that you were trying to do or, leave to go to the gym early or whatever it might be? I mean, the fact that it is folded the wrong way, in your opinion, and now in the linen closet, that technically that's really an objective thing. The bottom line is it did save you time. You did not physically have to go and fold the towel because you asked someone to help you. Hey, can you help me out? We've got, this in the dryer. Do you mind folding these so I can get out the door? And so then they're going to fold it. But then if you're going to go back and then have a problem with the actual maybe way it was folded, did it not save you time though? That's how I look at it. Like it saved me time. It really doesn't matter if it's in the closet in a way that's different than I would put it in the closet. It doesn't really matter. I'm just giving you some food for thought, okay? Giving you some things to think about. Like, let's put some context around it. Did it save you time? Yes. Was that the objective? Yes. Does it really matter if it's crisscrossed, folded, wrapped, trifolded? Does it really matter? Does it make that big of a difference? So whether it's something in the home or whether it's something at work with your team, understanding the art of delegating is really a gift to yourself, to your energy, to your mental space. And I think that I really encourage women when we get in these conversations that there is areas for improvement there, because you don't have to be in charge of everything. And the world is not going to fall apart if you don't do X, Y, and Z and have your fingerprint on absolutely everything. So consider the 95-5 rule when I talk about that. And again, or let's say 90-10 rule, 90% of the work is getting done. And then maybe you've got 10% that you have to clean up, do, put your touch on it, whatever it might be. Okay. Then let me share with you some common reasons why women have a harder time at delegating. So first one is perfectionism, just straight out of the chute. Perfectionism. Well, Christy, I'm not all into perfectionism. Well, but I just like it the way I like it. Okay. Again, perfectionism. That's, I mean, what you find to be perfect and what someone else finds to be perfect are going to be two different things, my friend. All right. So it's very, like, there's a lot of room for opinion there. And a lot of times people don't want to delegate even, and we can just talk about work stuff. Like, they don't want to delegate because of the perfectionism. Well, if it's something that you're in charge of, absolutely. I mean, you want it to represent you, you want it to represent your team, but you're delegating and you're following up. When I talk about delegation, there's delegating. And then if it's, again, I'm talking about something of importance. I'm not talking about, to me, folding towels is not important. I don't care how somebody folds a towel. But when we're talking about something that, I've got to put my seal of approval, maybe something that my team's putting out at work. Yeah, I'm going to delegate it. And yes, I'm also going to review it. That's part of that 95-5 rule or the 90-10 rule. Like, you're going to still review and make sure you've delegated it, you're still responsible for it. So still give it the once over. Make sure that, it's got the things that you need it to have. But the perfectionism part is thinking that only I can do this the right way. Only I can get this done exactly the way it's supposed to be. It's that really unrealistic level of perfectionism can really hold. It's like having handcuffs on. I mean, it's really hard to be productive, to truly have productivity and to, do the things that you want to do if you're trapped in that box of perfectionism. So perfectionism that mindset is something that holds people back from knowing how to delegate. The next thing is the fear of if I delegate, then there's a fear of being perceived as weak or less than or not good enough, or I can't do it, or, gosh, if I delegate that, they're going to think that I'm not capable of doing that. So that goes back to what your thoughts are about yourself. Okay. So you're tied too much to thinking that they're going to think that I'm not good enough because I'm delegating this item. There's no validity in that. Absolutely no validity in that. Again, that's in your own head, in your own story. You're worried about how they're going to perceive you as being weak, being less than, not being capable. Being capable is having a task, a challenge, whatever it is that needs to get done, and being smart and figuring out the moving parts to make that happen. That doesn't mean that it has to be 100% all you. No, that means know your resources, know what you need to pull from to put the whole end solution together. So instead of another way to look at it is look at it more in a more broad spectrum when you're problem solving instead of micro. Go wide angle. Okay. Go wide angle lens on it instead of just micro. And another reason why people will hesitate to delegate and to say, I do everything myself, I don't delegate anything, is lack of trust, thinking that, I just don't trust other people to do it. And trust is a big deal. I mean, you have to learn to trust and be willing to take the risk to learn to trust. Now, there are still times that, yes, do people, make a promise and they don't keep it? Do they say, I'm going to do this, and then they don't? Sure, that happens. Also, hear me when I say that if you're going to delegate something and you're like, okay, I'm just going to trust them to do it. And then you wait until the due day, the day that you need all the moving parts to come together. And that's the first time you're following up on what you've delegated and they haven't done anything. And so you're like, I can't even trust them to do it. I asked them to do it. And now, see, they didn't do it. Okay. But when you delegate, you have to have a plan of follow-up. You have to have a plan of checking in, asking the right questions, touching base, not waiting until it's the time to cross the finish line and then be like, what, you didn't do what I delegated to you? I was trusting you. See, now I can't trust anybody, right? So you've got to be wise and use wisdom when you delegate. You're not going to delegate something and then wait 6 months and I'll talk to you in 6 months and I hope you do it. No, when you delegate, you have to have a plan of communication, follow up. How's that going? Is there anything I can provide for you to help you get to the next step? What roadblocks are you running into right now on that project that I sent over to you last week? Do you have any questions? Open up the dialogue, give them the opportunity to ask their questions. You can get a better read on the situation, right? You can get a better read on the situation for what you've delegated if you're asking open-ended questions and giving them the space to ask those questions. Then you can bring in more clarity. You can bring in more context. So trust is an issue. People have trust. They're like, I don't trust them. I can't delegate them to do that. Make sure that you are showing up in the delegation process so that you are not waiting until the last minute to then say, well, see, I can't trust them. They didn't do it. Because you need to be showing up continually in the process. Now, obviously, for that example, I'm talking about most likely something in the workplace, but there could be anything else. It could be something at home. I mean, it could be a personal life thing too. So let me turn my phone off there. So anyways, lack of trust. And then the other thing is maybe the concept of I don't have resources, limited resources. So limited resources, I can't delegate because I don't have any resources. I really think that this is where we get creative. This is where we dig in our brain. And instead of looking for all the reasons why something can't happen, we have to get creative. We have to look for um, maybe not the obvious answer, you know? So I will use, I'm going to share something. So I don't know why I go back to laundry, but if you know me, you know, I don't like laundry. It's just one of those things that I have just learned to accept in life. But I recently we were in Oklahoma and we had been doing some traveling. Anyways, I acquired all this laundry. And when I get in those type of situations and have tight turnaround times, I now will look for an outside, resource where they come pick up the laundry, do the laundry, fold it, make it beautiful. They bring it back, all the things. And yeah, I mean, a real luxury to be able to do if you're able to do that. If you're not able to do that and you need help with, let's say, laundry, this is where you're like, okay, because I mean, I've had that too. So is there a neighborhood kid that can come over and help you? Is there someone that whether it's maybe you have a friend that's really good and efficient at that, and maybe you're really good at something else. And so the two of you like exchange, like, if you'll come over and help me with this on, on Sunday afternoon, I will come over and handle, whatever your area of the thing, something that comes really easy for you, and I'll come over and I'll help you with that and knock that out in an hour. So there are solutions at every level. It's just, are you willing to look for them? Are you willing to get creative and how you might come up with overcoming, I don't have anyone in the workplace to delegate to. It's just me. Okay, great. Well, guess what? There's also virtual assistants. You're like, Christy, it's just me. I've got all this that is on my plate, or I'm self-employed and, I'm a solopreneur. It's just me. Like, I have to do everything. My friend, let me tell you that obviously understanding the entrepreneur space very well, that it can seem overwhelming and you can seem like you have so much to do and you have nobody to delegate it to if you don't have anyone else on your team. But can I tell you about virtual assistants? When I learned what virtual assistants are and that they do a whole list of, there's somebody for everything, literally everything. And when you're able to determine the things that either A, are not in your area of brilliance, they take up way too much time, they're pulling you away from things that are actually going to, drive your business forward, and things that will, generate revenue, things like that. And you're like, I need to be spending more time here and less time here. Those are the things that you need to look at delegating to a virtual assistant. Have a VA. Then maybe you're like, because Christy, I can't have a full-time employee. That's great. You have a VA. Think of it like having an assistant on a retainer, meaning like, like an attorney, you have like maybe a legal counsel on a retainer. Same. Maybe you set aside X amount of dollars a month for my VA services. And anytime I hit the wall and these are the things I need to push off, I reach out to my VA. So there are ways to work around this concept of I can't delegate anything. You can. We have to get into creative problem solving mode. So the art of delegating, number one, is if you're not comfortable with delegating, you need to understand first why you're not comfortable with that. You need to better understand yourself. Why are you not comfortable delegating? What's getting in the way of you feeling okay delegating some things? What's getting in the way of your own mindset there? So you need to really get clear on that. You need to explore that. You need to think about that. So get clear on that. And then the second thing is, once you can kind of move through those parts of that, or you get a little more clarity, realizing that you're getting in your own way on that. And then I want you to really think of the areas, one thing, something, pick something that you can start to delegate so you can get more comfortable with it, for one, and it doesn't seem as foreign. And two, you're going to create more space in your life. Physical time space, also mental, like just mental breathing space. So there's so many benefits to the art of delegating. And you learn a lot about yourself in the process too. When you are super comfortable with the whole delegation process and you understand, again, how to manage the delegation process, it's not just like push it off and then turn away and I'll come back weeks down the road, month down the road, and expect everything to be done like I would do it. So it's understanding what delegation is going to give you, what you're gifting yourself, understanding if you're resistant to it, what's your holdback, like what's getting in your way to move forward in that. And then actually moving past that, actually doing the delegation so that you can achieve the goal, create more space in your life, create a more seamless feeling in your life, whatever your objective is. And then learning to manage the delegation process, meaning you don't just walk away and circle back to it when you think of it. To have delegation really work for you in the best way possible, you've got to understand how to manage that process. So I want you to get to work on finding something you can delegate and really lean into that if that's something that's new to you. Think of the 95-5 rule or the 90-10 rule, either one. And let me know if you try this or if you have questions. I want to know how it's going for you. I want to know. If you have questions about virtual assistants and maybe how some of that works, and if that could work for you, I'm happy to chat about it. Just, drop me a message, drop me an email, a DM, and I'd love to chat with you more about it, because it truly has been that's been like a saving grace in my world for sure. And it's definitely finding the right person. That's very key. So, all right, well, go think about delegation. Think about your week, think about your month, and consider if that's something that you need to lean into a little more, so that you can free up some more space and energy in your life so you can really move forward and focus on your area of brilliance. All right, go make the rest of your day great. I will see you here next week. Same time, same day. It's a date. All right, I'll talk to you soon. Bye.